And now, for our final session here at the Speaker Hall at the IFX International, we're going out with a big one. AI is changing the game. But are the machines actually winning? Or is there still something human traders know that algorithms don't? Moderating this closing discussion is Javier Hertfelder, co-CEO of FXStreet. I don't know about you, but I'm curious to see how this one plays out. Let's give the floor to Javier and his fellow panelists.
Thank you, Justina. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to this session. I'm super excited to be here. And thanks to the audience for being in the last session of the day. I know that many of you are thinking about pools and beaches here. And today's topic is one of the most pressing questions in finance, probably together with legal things. The use of AI is one of the most important questions right now. And the question is traditional trading getting replaced by AI? And to depict this question, we have gathered a group of experts, and we are going to cover several topics today. What AI is actually doing on trading desks, where is creating real acts versus where it's just hype, and what it means to you, no matter if you are a broker, a trader, or an analyst. So here on my left, we have Luka Knezic, founder of TradeLocker, a cutting-edge trading platform where, amongst other things that they do, they offer features for traders to design their own strategy based on AI. Demetris, chief scientist of the Republic of Cyprus, and Demetris is shaping the future of technology of this nation in terms of technology, AI. So thanks for being here. And finally, Andrew, CEO and founder of Equity. Equity offers investor access to the sharpest investment data so they can make better decisions. So thank you for being here. And let's start with an icebreaker, not related with business. I want to ask you, each of you, okay, one thing that surprised or amazed you using AI outside the business, so in your everyday life.
Okay. This is like your therapy, you know. You say what's the worst thing you did for I'm Luka, and when I drive alone in a car, I usually talk to AI to get ideas, solve problems.
And that's great. Good idea. Demetris.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Cyprus. So for me, when I started using, let's say, generative AI, I was inspired by how well the average, let's say, use cases were actually met. So one day when my mom, who was like about 70, 80 years old, said to me, I keep on hearing about this thing, right? Giving answers to people, right? So can it really do what it does? I said, sure. What's the toughest recipe you think you have in your, coming from your origin in Greece? So she asked it the same question and it gave her an answer. And ever since, my mom is a fan of ChatGPT, and she uses it up, to figure out her thing. So I think for me, the most surprising thing is that the rate at which technology is actually evolving to be able to address, I think, most of the common use cases in the areas that we have. So that's all for me.
Okay. Andrew?
So I use AI a lot in what I do, and I have the geeky side of what I like doing, which is the artistic side. I like playing around with the imagery and creating stuff just for personal and for work. I use it in my work every day for legal issues and various others and products and in our data. But the area that I find most interesting is I'm a big fan of history. And so when I've got a break at lunchtime or something, I will ask it a question about history and ask it to explain to me. For example, the other day I was I was interested about the Rif War between Spain, Germany, and Morocco, and I asked it to explain, as I'm a student, the history of the Rif War. And my next stage is turn that into a podcast to put onto my phone so I can listen to it whilst I'm cycling.
Okay. So, in the car, recipes, and history. That's great. So let's get into business. We are going to get some context about what's the current status of AI. So let's start with Demetris. So industry surveys suggest that nearly half of the trading firms and the trading-related companies already use AI. And some forecasts says that in the next 3 years, up to 80% of these companies are going to use AI in some form. From your vantage point of view in Cyprus, how much of this is reality versus just hype, just smoke?
Well, first of all, let me just start by saying that one aspect is using AI embedded in the algorithms that you're actually providing a service to the end customer. The other one is using AI to actually accelerate data monetization. So these are two different things. I think that what we do see today is that already, even in Cyprus, many organizations that are actually providing insight are actually using, AI to a data monetization level. And I think that the actual level of adoption of AI is moving forward. I think here in the island, it's not going to be, at that 80%. But what I do see internationally is that the rate at which AI is penetrating, especially in the investment areas, is really growing very, very fast. And I think the most important thing here is that, Cyprus has always been a bit slower in terms of uptake on let's say, technology, mainly because of our strict focus on GDPR and some other restrictions that we basically adhere to. So traditionally, we have this slider control, which slowly is evolving. But I think in the next 3 years, we will be looking at a massive acceleration. I'm actually updating the national AI strategy for the nation, which is going to be 2025 to 2030. And, the pretense here is to actually transform or use AI as an enabler to accelerate the creation of value and unlocking of trapped value within industry. So I think we will be there soon.
It's okay. Luka, as a founder of a trading platform, what AI driving trends are you seeing among the active users, active traders?
2 years ago, we had a panel like this one, and then we were talking about AI, and back then it was a little bit a lot different situation. And one of the things I said is we are going to see in the next couple of years that you're not even going to talk about AI. It's just going to be obvious. We're not just going to say, oh wow, it's AI powered. It's just going to be a tool. And I see that that's already happening. Like besides TradeLocker, what I see is a lot of similar use cases, which is great now, but it will just be normal very soon. Everybody will have access to the same things. But what I think is going to happen, you're just going to have thousands of LLMs. Across the world, all industries, trading included. If a big company has their own data, a big advantage is creating their own LLM, which is proprietary, and they can offer better experience. The problem is proving that it's better experience and having that kind of obvious difference between two tools. Like for us, it's easy because we have our own tools and we have unique data, unique access to information, but then every company needs to figure out also their own. I see different tools, I see a lot of similarity, and then it's the details and the evidence to prove that it's actually much better than just a regular LLM.
Okay. And Andrew, your company has been using machine learning and AI techniques for a long time, even before the 2023 with the hype of GPTs. From your expertise, what evidence do you see that the AI-driven insights are overtaking human intuition, if so?
I think it's an interesting question on many fronts, but I think Demetris was saying something that I'd like to start off with. I think there's two parts to this. One is the functionality of say a ChatGPT and using the technology, and then there's the data in which LLMs can help, and those are two different things. I'm seeing a lot of companies offering agents, or what you might say chatbots, but agents who can take in research and give you answers to questions. But in my mind, that's coming along to the same parallel as emails or messaging. It's a function. We didn't have emails before, then we had emails and we improved our functionality, and that will become ubiquitous across, and we'll also have the issue of having agents working together. So you may have an agent that has access to customer data, an agent that has access to research. But you then, in terms of the insights, the actual data, I see companies already starting to do this, and we work on this, is contextualizing, bringing different information sets together. And so you may have, for example, news from FXStreet, technical insights from Acuity coming together with calendar data and explaining the situation around euro dollar now. These kind of things, these are useful because they can do a job of what an analyst would do, look at various different data sets to provide context. But then the next level is to also bring that up to a personalization level and say, right, okay, well, we can look at pricing data, we can look at trading behavior, we can also look at customer insights. You're based in Asia, so how are we best looking after a client that's based in Thailand, and bringing in different data sets from within the brokerage firm,
okay,
and providing a better experience, whether it's the end user or whoever.
Can I add a few things? How many of you are in business of having traders actually trade and make the trade and as many trades as possible and actually use the product? How many of you here? Can you raise your hands? Okay, there are a few people. All right, so what we see, I'm in the car with my partner and friend Luka, and we're reading some research, and it says just to write essays, when you use ChatGPT, it reduces your ability to memorize what you were doing by like 87%. And also then if you're using it consistently, it reduces the ability for cognitive, just analyzing information by 47%, something like that. And there's tons of things that they are researching and finding out about the brain. And then you translate it to trading. For somebody who knows what they want to write, it's great, because then you already know, it just speeds up the typing. But if you don't know, if you're just learning, it's great. But if you just actually want to write things, you forget it instantly and you never learn and you forget about it. Same thing with trading. If you want the traders to trade, if somebody is new, they'll never learn how to trade. They just get the signal, and great for people who just want to pay copy trading, use the bots, and that's it. Just leave. It's going to reduce that time and making them just leave the platform, leave the whatever where they trade on. It will just reduce that time from making decision and just clicking, because they'll think they got the important information. Yeah, I did the work for me. I'll just make a trade and leave. That's also dangerous in terms of retail trader, because they will think they know something, but they don't know, and they don't know where it comes from. They just get tons of information again.
You're saying that's the danger of what's going to happen. People.
It's an opportunity and the danger. Yeah.
Because I feel that LLMs will be able to help contextualize information from different areas and make people more intelligent. At the moment, retail traders, especially, are very, they get frightened by markets, and they come in and they see a trade idea, for example, and they're like, okay, I'll trade on that. Or I'll go to an educationalist who will teach me how to trade, and I'll spend 3 months learning how to do it. But by using the different data sets that a brokerage has, a trader can learn on the job, let's say, with a lot more information.
It's great for learning, but if a trader actually uses it to learn, and confidence can be dangerous. It can be great if you actually learn and then make your own decision, but if you trust it too much and you think you know something and you just make a trade, you can just lose it as fast as you got the money. So I think it's both ways.
Talking about the dark side of this AI wave, Demetris, how do we work against AI-driven trading disasters?
Well, I'll start first of all by building on what the two gentlemen have actually said, right? So when somebody asks me, very simple is, how do you view the evolution of AI in our lives, right? And how is it changing, businesses? What I usually tell them is that we have this direct, let's say, trend of hyper-automation. And then we have everything that is moving up when we call it like a user experience or an outcome, right? And what we eventually will be seeing is that, be it trading or any other thing, will be offered as an experience. And that basically will have a lot of insight that's packaged in, but at the end, you may have, that risk of an experience be offered to you that may actually give you some insight that is incorrect. Now, of course, when you're actually implementing solutions or deciding and basing your decisions on artificial intelligence, you also need to think about, is the actual model, is the actual LLM, is the actual technology that people are using, right? Trained well, considering basically the data, the bias that exists. We saw, for example, a trade war happen a few weeks ago, right? And I'm an example of a trader. However, I would have never predicted in the history that, Trump's move would have actually reset the table for all of the technology companies to gain this massive gains moving forward. However, right, having a model really observing the behavior could actually give you some insight moving forward. Now, what I'm saying is that from a government perspective, right, we have two responsibilities. One is to ensure that AI usage will actually result in, provide safety, but at the other end is to actually create those mechanisms that prevent the unauthorized use of using it, and that's, by preventing mechanisms that will inject LLMs or really contaminate them. So eventually, I think that more work needs to be done in this area. I do agree with Luke here that, for example, if you start basing your decisions, on somebody's signal, etc., you may actually, get swayed around or, let's say, misinformed very easily. I think there is a reason why the industry calls, scams like authorized payment, let's say, push buttons, right? Because there are ways that you can always cheat the system, looking at how, right, regulation doesn't cover something. So I think what we need to do is, as we're evolving the usage of the technology, to also evolve, let's say, the regulation, the compliance, so that we are able to move at the speed which we can actually, safeguard the interests of, the traders, the people, the businesses, right? And at the same time, also, I think the companies and who are, I think, investing. So thank you.
And talking about more challenges, let's talk about job cuts, resumes. Andrew and Luka, how likely is it that the AI could substantially replace roles like analysts or people on trading desks from your point of view?
I didn't think a lot about analysts and trading desks and things like that, how it can be replaced, but just from the top of my mind, if somebody is junior and just starting, if they get fired because AI can now replace them, that's a huge opportunity also to be quicker to getting from junior to mid or senior, because they have AI. Because in the past, somebody, if they started in the industry, took them years. Now a junior can have the same information very quickly, learn very quickly because of AI. So use this as an opportunity. Of course, there will be job cuts, but the people who can adapt, who are valuable, will always be needed, and they'll be able to adjust quickly. I think the AI is just an opportunity. There is no danger here from my mind. In the beginning, I was also thinking, oh, what will happen? But there's so many new industries, so many new things going on, and the tools and the opportunities, it is just going to be replaced. And I don't see the danger here for the next, 10 years or so.
So I was doing some research on this before we came in, and Bloomberg Intelligence interviewed 93 banks, and they said that they expect their headcount to reduce by 3% by 2030. Of those, 220,000 jobs are expected to be lost on Wall Street in trading. McKinsey believes that 25% of roles in compliance and back office can be automated using AI. And the banks seem to be focusing on those roles that, such as risk and compliance, to automate. Klarna is a company who put their hiring on freeze, and they created 700 new agentic roles, as in new employees but AI. And it caused them so many problems, they reversed course and started hiring people again. So, and then I think you're going to go into an area which is trading, which I'll just add my 2-bit, is that I think trading has largely been automated. LLMs, we say quantitative trading, data science, these areas have been quite prevalent within trading for a long, long time. Much of the functions have already been automated many years ago, so I don't think that will be a focus of banks in trying to cut costs or do, save on headcount.
Actually, can I take a...
Yeah, sure.
So what we are seeing, I used to work in the corporate industry, leading as an executive at Oracle and later on at AWS. What we have seen is banks are consolidating and they're actually moving from in-store experiences over into online experiences. And many what have actually done is, once upon a time we used to have wealth management bankers that were actually supporting the top high net worth individuals, and eventually then they took that knowledge, they used cognitive intelligence, and they created this type of a virtual wealth management advisor that goes out to the medium net worth individuals or the lower
Robo investing.
Exactly, robo investing. However, what we're seeing right now is two main directions. On one side, you see AI in the form of Gen AI and some tools that are basically making people much more productive, which that may impact to some extent, I think, some types of analysts, etc., where we're actually talking about being empowered with tools that can do automating decision support systems or insight, or even like data platforms with no code AI ML. However, as Luka said here, that is an opportunity for people to get reskilled very fast and build on that, right? So for me, the best way for me to have, my entire, let's say, organization who really does a lot of compliance is to really reskill them with AI ML type of knowledge, and insight, so that they can actually be faster, they can see trends that are, they can't see right now, and use the power of artificial intelligence. However, on the other side, we also have something that is really changing the game very fast. We have technology that is being disrupted within a cycle, like every 6 months, We go into a new cycle, and that creates massive opportunities. So right now, we don't have quantum in trading yet. In 5 years' time, I think we might have. That gives us, 100,000 times of compute power, really there. So that means that if somebody basically has access to control that level of power, there is no way that you can actually deal with that risk. So the next question is, how do you deal with this situation, in an industry like that, when you don't have somebody who can be accountable for that risk? So I think we're going to be a bit slower. So maybe into the next 5 years, I don't see too many jobs going away. I think that as we move fast, moving up from the next 5 years up, we may see exponential change. But that also is an opportunity to reskill people with the right level of experience so that we can move forward, Because if you think about it, everybody talks about self-driving cars, or autonomous cars, So who are you going to hold responsible where a car runs on top of, another person? Who are you going to hold responsible where you actually have your humanoid who's serving you, kill your pet? Eventually, it's the same thing, You're going to have trading platforms that are going to be using, let's say, autonomous systems, but who is going to be held, when something was programmed the wrong way? So these things have not been figured out, at least here in Cyprus yet right now. We're working on them. We're thinking very hard in our national strategy. And I think, going back to the point, I see a slower steady state, and then, I think we're going to have to redefine several roles within several industries, not just in trading, but across.
Yeah, I like what you said, Demetris, about the technology changing every few months. I see it also in our businesses. We want to implement something, and by the time you want to implement it, it's already something even better. And then you start doing it, and it takes so much time to do it that you know it's going to get disrupted again, that it doesn't even make sense to do it. And then something that was not valuable anyways, and is annoying anyways, like for example KYC, KYB, no offense, but it's just like so obvious that this will be automated, and already is almost automated. Those things are obvious, but then there is a huge opportunity in, I think, education and being able to adapt very quickly. Like I look at my younger friends, they're just launching businesses and shutting down businesses. They earn tons of money and they shut it down, start a new one, and it's normal for them. Like I think for older generations that was unseen. Like I have friends whose parents are 40 years in the same company, and I see friends are just starting new things all the time, and why is that important? Because education needs to change as well. I think there will be many more private education companies also in trading, which will just need to adapt people to what they need to learn faster, and it also affects the jobs and retraining and all the other things. So, yep.
Okay, so we have just 4 minutes to go. So before we get into the audience questions, each of you, quickly, how do you foresee the life of a trader in 10 years' time? I know that is a difficult question, but imagine that you are a trader in 10 years with all the AI tools. Is very different from now? Come on, Luka, you're waiting for this question.
I don't know, 10 years is too much. I think there is so much going to happen in the next 12 months or by 2030 that we cannot even imagine. Like with you, 2023 on this panel about AI, I said in 5 years everything is going to be totally different. I think it still stands like until 2027. Already everything will be AI and much different than today. 2030 already. But 10 years from now, I think, let's say if trading still exists, let's be positive, that there is no quantum computing and things like that, I think you're going to have access to institutional tools, instant data, everybody will be on the same level. The risk or people will be looking at much higher yields. For example, in traditional investing, the ETFs will not be that popular. It'll be more individual, more opportunities, and of course, I think trading will be non-stop. Many more traders, because it will be just more dynamic, more accessible. Regulation, I hope, will not be a problem because it'll be also easier to regulate things if it will be on blockchain. It's just difficult to just project 10 years in advance. Yeah, that's right.
Demetris.
Well, I think wearing my industry strategist hat, rewiring backwards, I think that in 10 years' time, right, we're going to be seeing a completely different landscape with many different business models, right, and different types of investments and trading opportunities that you see there. I think the Web3 infrastructures and all of that will by then be massively, let's say, adopted. So, I mean, the whole idea of smart contracting, smart compliances, or all of these elements are going to be ingrained in, right? So basically, a trader will have access, in addition to, tools that can actually help them preventing, meaning like help you avoid that panic, right? Or selling early, or, being able to really be so tailored and personalized to your preference style that I think trading will become something like a hobby. Because all of these tools that are going to be available to you around, right? Be it, that insight, the prevention mechanism, maybe biometric rings that can actually help you really understand when you're getting stressed and really can contain you, because they can actually help you avoid things that they have studied into your patterns. I think these are things that we're already looking at in technology right now from a health perspective, like virtual human twins. And I think that in the next 5 years, these will be so progressed that I see them easily being tested slowly and eased in. So I think that we're looking at a more diversified market of an opportunity in terms of investment vehicles, trading, let's say, assets, tokenized assets. We're going to be talking about different classes, right, also, but at the same time, I think looking at where we are right now and the rate at which, for example, AI is changing every industry, I imagine these things could be possible.
Andrew, you have 10 seconds. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I really do. Something Luka said, I agree with, that people will have, let's say, democratization of access to tools and data. And that will continue, and that's been happening for the last many years. But the way I have seen in the past, where people have had access to institutional tools or data, it's led them to understand better. And what I was saying is that they will understand the markets better and be more intelligent. But it also will lead to people having to use their brain more, to be individual in how they invest. Because the same with algorithmic trading that's been going on for 20, 30 years, is that if everyone has the same algorithm, then it doesn't make a difference. If everyone has access to the same data, the same LLMs, and there's always going to be differences. But it will force people to think more. And the other, and be creative. The other thing I think is that it will bring a bit more, like you were saying about hobby trading, a bit more responsibility and about investing, not trading, but managing like your pension funds and stuff like that. And people will be less scared because they'll be able to work with an agent to help them understand and plan for their future, and ask a million questions and help them be reassured. So I see good things happening in that area.
And if I can add two things, imagine you go to a platform and you trade this building, City of Dreams. Like imagine, like you mentioned, tokenization. In Dubai, you already can buy a piece of property as a part of the token offering. And imagine you can trade this building, for example. And the same way we trade meme coins, which is ridiculous and funny, and that's why everybody does it. Imagine you can trade this building. Yeah. And second thing, if trading in 10 years still exists, I think it'll be completely opposite of what they think. It will be extremely difficult because there'll be no sentiment. How can you predict the sentiment of the market? There will be so much AI content. There will be so many ways you can scam and say the opposite of what favors your agenda, that in the end it won't matter. Like, what are you gonna do? You should ignore it completely, probably, if it's so easy to affect it. Just two thoughts here.
That's why you need frameworks around this.
Yep.
So you can say did anything 10 years, you know?
Yep.
This is true. Okay, so we are running out of time. So do we have time for one question? Just one question, okay? Who's going to be the lucky guy? Ivo? Okay.
Thank you. You talked about how AI is replacing traders, the job losses on the trading desks. But do you think there's still future for the trader to use AI to improve his skills and bring something to the table instead of being completely replaced by AI?
Who wants to?
I can say my opinion, yeah. As long as you are on top of it and you use the latest technology and whatever you would do anyways, now you can do it faster, better, get the information to make a decision. Yes, of course. But then at some point, if everybody does it, which depends on their ability to focus, not to be lazy, to actually do it, to do their own research, to make decisions quickly and efficiently, all these things which will never change, then yes, you can affect that. But if everybody can do things on their own, think independently, all these things, then you don't have advantage. But I think that will never change as long as we have these brains, at least not in our lifetime, at least if you don't have Neuralink, which...
Yeah.
I personally see that we already are entering the phase where we have agentic AI, which make things easier. However, you still need an expert in the field that can really understand the basics to be able to, let's say, be able to make decisions. So when you have when you're trading, right, and you see that there are stock markets in the West, there are stock markets in East Asia, and each one of these has a very different dynamic in terms of a regulation perspective, let's say a transformation perspective, a regional cooperation that economies are opening up. I believe that an analyst for the, I think foreseeable at least 5 years time, has actually a very good chance of using these AI tools or multi-agent systems to help him differentiate himself in really bringing that added value to the table. So whenever I actually, get asked by people about, the danger of AI coming in and running some, set of roles obsolete, I actually will say, people, you need to think about what's the value you can actually create, what's the value you can unlock in terms of trapped value, and what's the value that gets destroyed. So I think those that basically operate in an area that can actually have all that signals running will actually get displaced. Those, though, who are actually, helping, right, or really trading across multiple complex geographies, right, different stock markets, different, let's say, types of constraints, have actually the possibility of using AI as a super weapon for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, first of all, the traders have already been replaced on bank desks by automation and algorithms many, many years ago. So there's not much more to be done there. But I was at a talk, I think with Morgan Stanley in London a couple of months ago, and they were looking at their pyramid of research that they pump out and how they use agentic behavior to support and create higher value up higher the chain, and still using agentic behavior to pump out a lot more content at the lower value end. But it's not necessarily replacing, it's making, they're not going to hire more people, but they're going to make people more effective, which is what you were saying.
Yeah.
And also allow them to cover a broader area of stocks at a lower cost.
So I think the general truth about any position in the world is, if you're an analyst, for example, and the result of your task or your job is analysis, would an analyst who uses AI be more valuable than the one that doesn't? Probably the one that uses AI would be more valuable. So in any part of your job, if you use AI, probably you can be more valuable and produce better results. So I don't think it's a replacement, at least not in 5 years or even more, but it's just like a power up, and anybody who's using it can be better.
Human-centered AI augmentation, that's what we call it.
Okay. Okay, well, that's it for today. First of all, thank you to our experts today, and thanks to the audience. Thanks for being here. It's a pity that we don't have time for more questions, but yeah, maybe next time in 2 years we have the same panel, and let's see if the answers to the questions are the same.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.